Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, my very honourable colleagues. I am Mark Terseer Gbillah, representing Gwe East, Gwe West Federal Constituency of Benue State. Mr. Speaker, my honourable colleagues, while I join in commending the federal government for this budget of recovery and growth, I want to begin to sound some alarms on the general principles of the budget. One of the first things to highlight is the critical need for a synergy between the fiscal and the monetary policy agencies of the federal government to be able to achieve the successes that are intended for the budget. And what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the fact that we have an exchange rate that we are not able to determine, which is at variance with the parallel market. We have a monetary policy committee that seems to be holding the economy to ransom because they refuse to heed to several studies by pundits in economics who say there's a need to adjust the MPR, the monetary policy rates, specifically interest rates and other variables, to be able to add the needed credit in the system. We can have these huge amounts we're proposing for the budget, but without that synergy between the fiscal and the monetary policy agencies, we cannot begin to achieve what the target of the federal government is. It is important to also highlight that the internally generated revenue is something that needs to be looked at critically. It's important for this honorable House to realize that there are certain agencies, or what the federal government refers to in its budget as GOEs, government-owned enterprises, like the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, that are not captured in the 2017 budget. So one begins to wonder what is happening to the monies being generated from the Niger Delta Power Holding Company. It is nowhere in the 2017 budget. It's important that this honorable House take note of this critical aspect. So the internally generated revenue is not being represented completely in the light of what the federal government and Nigeria is supposed to expect from all her agencies. I want to also highlight an issue that is currently occurring. The foreign borrowing plan of the federal government as we speak is almost in jeopardy because the World Bank, the African Development Bank have refused to consider our debt request because the federal government has not produced their economic recovery policy plan, which they promised to do since December. So our targeted foreign borrowing is at risk if the federal government does not do something in this regard, because this is critical to the deficit that is indicated in the budget. I want to also highlight the fact that this honorable House will need to do very forensic examination of the details of the budget in terms of expenditure. The federal government said they are planning a cost-cutting measure, but there are certain figures that you see in the budget that still are mind-boggling with regards to the amount allocated to ambiguous projects. For instance, there's a $2 billion that simply says Rural Electrification Fund.
Honorable Mark Terseer, thank you very much for your incisive debate. Very brilliant.